Documented there what I'm expecting down here at the bottom for January. Major thing about January, folks, is whether you believe or expect that the trajectory that they're saying ISON is going to follow, this high trajectory shooting out of here, is accurate. Because again, if that trajectory is off, folks, and then that trajectory is much flatter, as indicated in some of the early NASA videos that I pointed out, it's a completely different ballgame. Completely different ballgame. Because as you look at the orbital models, you'll see that right about exactly on the first of the year, if ISON picked a lower path, it will be blazing right through Earth's orbital path before January 1st, and by January 1st, Earth would be going potentially right through ISON's outgoing debris field, which, as far as I'm concerned, would be way more significant than going through the incoming debris field. So, take a look, and here's what we got coming up. First entry, the 11th, stays away. Sort of updated the alignment that I mentioned in the last video, just so you can see clear what I was talking about. The orange dot here is where ISON will be on its beeline in, heading right for the sun. A few days after the 11th, on the 15th, Mercury is going to swing right into ISON's incoming path. But I think here's where all the action starts, folks. Starts right here around the 11th. Okay, let's flip over here. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but apparently we're not allowed to know about the incoming space rocks anymore. Apparently it's all going to be classified, or at least a significant portion of it. Scroll down here, it's a pretty big article. I'll leave the link so you can check that out. I'll leave this link also to Emory University's Department of Physics, where they have a real-time ISON calculator. The thing I'm most interested in right here is the comet's velocity. I just started looking at this a day or so ago, and ISON has already increased a mile per second just in a very short period of time. Let's go take a look at this article here. Today, notice we had another X-class flare. I think we also had a follow-up M-class flare. Also notice that this nasty sunspot is just about center disk. I think we have 1 or 2 more days. So it should be pointing at us probably directly about the 9th. But from today through the 11th easily, we're in the danger zone. Any huge CME blasted off of this zone right here, we're right in the line of fire. So keep aware of that. Let me look at this article down here. Alberto's been out looking. I think there's 27 minutes. He's kind of condensed down to a video here from a couple days ago. But here's what I'm looking at. 46 kilometers per second is roughly what ISON is supposed to be traveling right now. But as it comes up to perihelion, they're expecting 400 kilometers per second. Okay, well, simple math, that's roughly 10 times. I'd already looked at other estimates that were indicating that it was probably going to be increasing its speed between now and perihelion by at least 3 times. So now we're looking at 3 to 10 times its speed between now and the time it slingshots the sun. So that's where this will come in handy for as long as we can keep looking at it. This will give us a real-time idea of how fast it's going. So, roughly 29 miles per second right now. We can do the math on it in the days ahead. Let's talk about Comet Encke. It's a comet that I haven't paid any attention to, but now that I have, it's far, far, far more significant than I ever expected. In fact, I have 2 more videos planned to tie all this together. I tried to do it yesterday. I actually had about a 40-minute video spliced together, and then I realized it was just way too much information at once, so we'll do it this way instead. Encke 2P, the second periodic comet discovered. 1P was Halley's, 2P Encke, discovered 1786. Took them about 30 or so years later when Johann Encke determined that, wait a second, this is a periodic comet. So they didn't know it when they saw it originally. 30 years later, someone figured out. And then I guess the comet took his name. 4.8 kilometers. Okay, that's same size or bigger than ISON. Extremely important to keep that in mind. 3-year orbital. 3 years. Number 3. That's going to play a big part in my upcoming videos. There's significance, and it's going to all make sense when I lay everything out for you. Interesting paragraph right here. Comets are in unstable orbits that evolve over time due to perturbations in outgassing, giving Encke's low orbit inclination near the ecliptic and brief orbital period of 3 years. The orbit of Encke is frequently perturbed by the inner planets. So from cycle to cycle to cycle, just don't know exactly what you're going to get based on the forces that are acting on this comet. Here's some information about Encke. The thing that we care about is right here on November 18th. And we're going to be looking at November 19th because the lineup is much better, but again, we're right in the exact ballpark. So they're basically saying right in that 18th period, it will be 2.3 million miles from Mercury. Keep in mind, folks, that when I made the prediction about the ISON flyby of Mars, ISON came within 6 or 7 million miles of Mars's North Pole. Encke is going to come 2.3 million miles, as we'll see here in a second, of Mercury's South Pole. And going to be much, much, much closer to the Sun during this flyby. There's another interesting tidbit. You're going to see how these numbers, these threes tie together here. Approaches Earth every 33 years. Keep that in mind. I'll be covering that in a future video. Got a JPL here for Encke. We're positioned on the 9th, just about today. And let's click it here and we'll see how it progresses coming in. So as you can see, Mercury and Encke closing on the 18th, which they're saying is the closest. 19th, they're almost directly overlapped. As you can see, then they spread back apart. So we're going to concentrate, for the purpose of this video, on the 19th. And here's why. Let's get a different perspective now. And let me zoom in a little bit. And you can see what's happening here. Encke's coming from a high incline. Right on the 19th, it's going to be zooming under Mercury, right under Mercury, 2.3 million miles from Mercury's South Pole. Let's go see what ISON's doing during that same time. Here's ISON on the 11th. Let's back it out a little bit. And you can see how ISON and Mercury are going to be interacting as it's coming in. As we're coming in here on the 10th, on the 11th, ISON at this point is bearing down on Venus's orbital path and will be crossing. So it's again a significant mark. You get a different perspective. based on how I tilt it. But anyway, at this point, Mercury will essentially be its closest to ISON because they're both equidistant from this intersection point. So let's take a look at one more angle here. Oops, I've been using it for something else. Let me go back to November 19th. And let's see what we've got going on with the sun coming in. So we get a perspective here of ISON. So here you go. ISON will be coming in right here. At this point, it's 33 million kilometers, or I think it's 20 million miles, 0.21 AU. Sounds like a long distance. But again, when ISON flew past Mars, ISON and Mars were way, way out at Mars's orbit. Now ISON is in much closer to the sun. And so I don't think this 20 million miles is going to make that much difference. But also at the same time, don't forget, let's look at it from this angle. Coming in on an orbit like this and sweeping out in the opposite direction is Encke. So Encke's going to be swooping, and it's going to be right underneath. Right underneath. 2.3 million miles from Mercury's south pole. Right as ISON is equidistant. Equidistant in this isosceles triangle right here to Mercury. And 2P Encke is right underneath, swooping in this way. And so essentially you've got two orbits. Encke's coming in like this, swoop underneath and going out. You got two comets that are going to crisscross orbits. It's going to be significant, folks. It's going to be significant. So here's what I'm planning for probably my final 2 videos, maybe 3. We'll see how it pans out. But we're coming into a critical time here, folks. And I'm not kidding about how long we have the internet and or power. I've said it numerous times and I'll say it again here. Whether the sun and comet interaction takes things down, or it's just another false flag EMP attack, one way or another, things are going down. So if you don't plan for it, times are going to be a little tougher than they need to be. But let's take a look at what we got coming ahead. I'm going to look at this from a data perspective. I'm sure you folks have seen plenty of conspiracy YouTube videos or whatever about the 333-year comet cycle. I've already been looking into it. Like I said, I tried to put a video together.